Hey friends, Ed McDonough here, and welcome to Live Stream Wednesday, coming to you from Walpole, Massachusetts, and streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on livestreamwednesday.com. And today I am super excited to have on business growth expert, Mr. Bob Salvas. Bob teaches small business owners how to implement programs that they can run to succeed in their businesses. And in addition, he provides amazing business guidance without the big business expense. So I'm super excited to have you here today, Bob. Welcome to Livestream Wednesday.
Hey, man, it's great to be with you, Ed. You and I go way back.
Absolutely. I was thinking about it. We've been networking together for over like 12 years now.
Yeah, at least.
Way back. And so I have to say this. I have to say this. I think it's my personal opinion. I think that when it comes to marketing and promotion and advertising, I think you forgot more about it than most people will ever know. So it's really, really an honor for me to have you here today.
Thanks, Ed. We've had some great discussions on marketing in the past, and I always love bouncing stuff off you. And between the two of us, we probably got more years than we want to admit in this field.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So listen, I know your story. I was wondering if you could just take a minute and kind of give people a little bit of info on your background, how you actually got started in this.
Yeah, I'd love to. So it actually goes back to the 1980s. One of my first real job as a young adult was working for the United States Postal Service, and I was tasked at the time to teaching business owners how to do bulk mail. I don't know if you remember bulk mail, but there was special permits that you needed, and you needed to follow all the rules. And what I discovered in the teaching of how to do direct mail was that a lot of small businesses really were lost. And I'm not talking about the rules and regulations or the postage costs. They were just lost in how to do it successfully. And so I became driven, if you will, to help these people. So I went out, I took classes at night. This is when my introduction to marketing, right? I took classes at night. I became a student of marketing. I read every book I could get my hands on. And it was all to help these small independent business owners who really couldn't afford to hire an agency or even hire a consultant. Yeah. So I did that for a number of years, and it's like one bite of the apple, and I was hooked. We're very similar in that way. We love to present and help people. So when I left the United States Postal Service, I started my own consulting business, and I started to do the same thing, help them in a wider array of information, not just exclusively to direct mail, but in other things as well. And after a number of years of that, I decided to expand on that even, and joined SCORE. So for those who may not be familiar, SCORE it actually was an acronym. It's the Service Corps of Retired Executives. It's a voluntary group. They're all over the country. I joined the Rhode Island chapter because that's where I live. But SCORE is a voluntary group who are made up of business owners or previous business owners or high executives, and they take the knowledge that they got not through some degree, but through actual experience. They took the knowledge that they had learned over the years of whatever they were doing, and they gave it back for free to the business community, to the small guy who really needed it. So naturally, because of where I was coming from, I really resonated with the SCORE mission. So I jumped right in. That was like, I don't know, 8-10 years ago. I jumped in as a SCORE counsel, and I'm still involved with them today. And it's a great organization.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm actually honored that you had me come in and speak a couple times for those. So thank you for that. So we were just talking about how you help businesses and stuff. What's a piece of advice that you could give somebody, regardless of what industry they're in, to help them promote, advertise their business?
There's a lot of different things that we could talk about, and of course, we don't have all day to talk about it, right? But one of the things that I say pretty routinely to every small business that I meet is you have to network. Listen, I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't know all the great people that I know, all the people who have assisted me in my business, who have been customers of mine and clients of mine. I wouldn't know those people if I didn't get out there and network and meet people. Now, here's the problem. Well, right now we have we have an extra problem because we can't get out there, right? So we do things like this, and we try to network through Zoom, and that's okay. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to be able to get back to, hopefully this year, maybe this summer even, get back to live in-person networking. And you have to do it, because getting out there in person with people and meeting people is the way that you expand your network, and you get referrals, you get partners that will help you. Like when I met you, Ed, I knew how great of a presenter you were. And as soon as I got in SCORE, I said, oh, I have to have Ed present, because it was my job in SCORE to get good presenters to come in. So networking, I think, is the key. Now, one of the things I want to say about it is there are certain numbers of people out there who say, oh, I tried that, it didn't work for me. I'll tell you the truth, they're doing it wrong, because networking isn't selling. And this is a very common mistake that I see. Networking is not selling. So you can't go to a room full of people and just walk in there for the first time. You don't know anybody, and you hand everybody a business card. You say, buy my stuff. That never works. Or if it works, it's a miracle. It's, something fell from heaven, right? But it just doesn't work. The whole idea is to go into one of these events, or, attend these networking functions, and meet people and develop a relationship with those people. So you don't do that by saying, buy my stuff. You do that by saying, how can I help you? Or what are you interested in? Or let's have a conversation, like you would a friend. You just have a conversation. You get to know somebody, say, hey, what do you do for a living? Right? Or, what are you interested in? And just have that conversation. Find the common ground and develop the relationship. It's the same way we did when we first met. Exact same thing happened. And we've been able to help each other numerous times over the years. And we continue to do so. Why? Because we have a solid relationship that was established long ago through networking.
Yeah.
So if people who don't do that, they're missing an opportunity. And here's the other thing. Small business owners, they don't have any money, right? So if you don't have any money, go to a networking event, because if you don't have any money, usually you have some time. So just go to as many networking events as you can, build those relationships, and you'll be better off for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And one of the underlying things I'm hearing, and you didn't say this word, but I want to say it, is consistency, right? Yeah. It's not just going to a networking meeting. It's going to that meeting month after month and making a presence so that you can build those long-term relationships, right?
Yeah, and you're right, exactly. It's not one and done, right? That never worked. Right. No matter what kind of marketing you're doing, that never works, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I did a direct mailing once, it didn't work. Well, yeah. We know why. Consistency, I think, is probably the most important word in all of marketing, not just networking.
Right.
But before we leave the topic, I have to give myself a shameless plug here and say, many years ago, and you've been to a lot of the events that I've had. I started. Actually, it was Dan Edmonds, a mutual friend of ours, who started the Fourth Monday Networking event. That's still going on. We're doing it through Zoom, but we're hoping that we can start that up maybe in May or June again. It's just a monthly networking event that I sponsor, and last few years we've been going to the Redstone Grill in North Attleboro. So we're hoping we can get back there or someplace similar in the summer. So I would just put it out there that, not only mine, but there's Uncle Jay, there's a bunch of other people who have these networking events. Some chambers have them. As the weather improves and the COVID stuff goes away, keep an eye out for these things and start. There's no time like the present to start. So make your plan now to go to some events when they become available.
Yeah, and Bob, so I'm always going to call it Fourth Monday Networking, because that's how I know it. But I know you just recently changed the name to. I want to get it right, so you say it.
Yes, Momentum Networking. So I do this weekly newsletter. The Momentum. I used to call it the Momentum Monday newsletter, but now I just call it Momentum Mail. And so the momentum word has always been a big word in everything that I've done. So I just tried to rebrand in 2021 and just incorporate that word in more things. It's a great word if you think about it for small business, because everything that they're trying to do, it's to build that momentum that gets them to growth. So I do Momentum Networking, which is my monthly networking event. I have Momentum Mail. I do a weekly email newsletter, and also I do some direct mail that part of my world, of course, from my past, and a few other things. And a lot of it is with that whole thing in mind of helping businesses grow and gain the momentum that will be self-sustaining. And that's what, the whole word consistency is part of that, right?
Yeah. Yep,
That's how you build the momentum, is you do things again and again and again, and pretty soon it just takes off.
Right. Absolutely. And so I have your website up here. People can go to bobsalvas.com and find out about the momentum networking, right?
Yep. It's there's a whole page devoted to the momentum networking on my website. There's 4 different back pages to show some of the stuff that I'm involved in.
Cool. Awesome. So, I know we have COVID now, but maybe outside of COVID, what are some challenges or a challenge that small businesses have that, they're just not that good at and that they really need to focus on and get better at?
That's a good question. Earlier we talked about networking as an opportunity to do something at a low cost that's going to benefit the small business owner. And one of the things you mentioned, which I am 1,000% on board with, is the consistency of that networking. Well, one of the other things that kind of comes in on the networking side, or also just in general, that small businesses really don't do a very good job at, is follow-up. And we've all heard the catchphrase, the fortune's in the follow-up. And it's true. It's cliche, but it's true, right?
Absolutely.
And people don't do a good job of following up from an initial meeting or staying in touch over the long term. So, one of the big things that I've advocated to my clients is, number one, meet more new people. So you could do that through networking, right? Number 2, consistently stay in touch with the new people that you meet. And by doing that over a longer period of time, you're going to deepen those relationships. So, and one of the strategies that I use, in addition to, going to networking events consistently, talking to people on the phone, checking in with people, is I use send out cards. I'm a big advocate for send out cards. I've been an affiliate since 2005. They use the hard copy greeting cards. So send out card, if you're not familiar with it, for those who are listening, send out cards is an online service that allows you to send out hard copy greeting cards. It's really simple to use, and everybody's too busy to go out and handwrite cards. You can't read my writing anyway, so you get online to a service that's very affordable. You create a business a greeting card for the business, and you just send it out. Hey, it was nice meeting you at the 4th Monday networking event last week. And that cuts through a lot of the marketing clutter and helps to develop those relationships that you're trying to develop. And as you stay in touch, people say, "Oh, I can't. How am I going to stay in touch with people?" Listen, there was a guy, Joe Girard, is in the Guinness Book of World Records for selling the most vehicles of any car salesman in the history of the world. And he did that by sending greeting cards every single month to everybody he knew. Well, he didn't send them a card that said big sale, come and buy my stuff. Yeah. In March, he would send them a St. Patrick's Day card. So you don't have to be salesy when you send out these cards. You just say, "Hey, I want to check in, see how you're doing during COVID." Right? Or hey, Ed, have a Merry Christmas, or whatever the reason. You have a reason, and then people get that, and they see it, and they're like, "Wow, Ed didn't ask me for anything." Because how many calls do you get, Ed, of people? "Hey, Ed, been a long time since we talked. Can you do a favor for me?"
Right.
And you really want to do it. You haven't heard from this guy in a year, right? And you really want to do that. It happened to me recently. Nice guy and everything, but it's like, dude, where you been?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and
so follow up is I think one of the things. Follow up and consistently staying in touch is the things that businesses really lack as from what I see.
Yeah, absolutely. And a sidebar to that too is that 2 things that I want to mention. Number 1 is direct mail is absolutely not dead. It works probably better than ever. And you can comment on that. And another thing that I think is really cool with send out cards that I've seen you do is actually, like when we were taking in-person meetings, you'd go to a business, you'd have a meeting with them, you'd go outside, you take a picture with your phone of their sign of their building or their logo or something, and 3 days later they're getting a card in the mail with that on that thanking them for the meeting. I think that is so powerful, so powerful.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about that system, because it's always, if you handwrite greeting cards, listen, I'm behind you 1,000%. Keep doing it. But the nice thing about send out cards is you can really personalize the card. If you've got a picture maybe that you snagged from LinkedIn or Facebook, or you, like I was, I'm outside. They have a beautiful storefront of this business I just visited. I take a picture with my cell phone and I make that the front of the greeting card. Well, now you get the card in the mail. It's not just a "Hey, nice to meet you" card, but it's a "Nice to meet you" card that has your business on it.
Yeah.
And so it really comes in handy. And matter of fact, I
still have a
right
bunch.
here.
I should have brought them out. I still have a bunch you sent me. I won't throw them away.
So this was actually, get this in the camera frame here.
Yeah,
this was actually
full screen. Yeah.
this is actually a greeting card that I sent to a friend of mine, and it's a reproduction of the first commercial Christmas card ever mailed. So, which is a billion years ago, but it's really kind of cool, and it's got I tell the story of how it was created, and I just wish the person happy holidays on the bottom. And I said I thought you would enjoy this. This was a person who appreciates history.
Yeah,
awesome. So you can tailor things to people's personality and what they like, and you can be very personalized with this kind of service. And just going back for a second, Ed, you made a comment on direct mail.
Yeah.
Listen, I am all about what we're doing with digital, right? You know me. I do a weekly newsletter. I'm very active on social media. I belong to a bunch of groups. It seems like I Zoom until the cows come home. I think we all do now, right?
Yeah.
But if you so I'm not disparaging that in any way. No. What I'm saying is, if you want to cut through the clutter, you have somebody you're trying to get their attention. Wow, what a great way to do it. Something actually shows up in the mailbox, and it just stands out from every other marketing message you might get. So not only that, but there's a lot of science and research that goes into the fact that you have something in your hand. Different parts of the brain respond to that as opposed to a digital message. So it's the sense of touch that you have a tangible object in your hand, and it actually activates different parts of the brain that affect things like memory and emotion. And Lord knows those are the two things that we need to affect as business people if we're really trying to make an impact on somebody, to get them to develop a relationship or to potentially even buy or refer us. Which, by the way, that's a really powerful part of networking. It's not that you're trying to get the person you meet to buy stuff from you, but you would love that person to refer you to somebody who would be an ideal client.
Right. And part of that is having them remember you. And those are the things, those are the touch points that people remember. So very cool.
So important. So there's multiple reasons to do it. And I think, you don't have to send out 1 million postcards to 1 million people. If you've got that kind of budget, talk to me, I can help you. But listen, send out cards. It's like you could do one at a time. You can keep, and that's why I love it for small business, because you can get a lot done on a small budget.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's go back to digital for a second, because I know you have a new virtual lunch and learn coming up. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So as I love what you got going on here, it seems like a lot of us are trying to expand on this. And so for many years, people know that I've given seminars for SCORE and other organizations, and what I'm trying to do is add a little bit of the online touch to my offering. So what we're going to do is every Monday starting March 1st, we're going to have a new event called Momentum Live. It's just going to be like a lunch and learn. It's going to go from 12 noon to 1 p.m. I'm going to do a few presentations during that 1 hour, and then on future weeks, we're going to have some guest presenters. So we've got Michelle Gerasoli coming in, talk about some stuff. And we've got Ed is going to come in. April 12th, I believe, is what we've got you booked for. Ed's going to come in and do a presentation. And we're going to try to get, I'm going to try to get a lot of some of what I think are the area and the region's best marketing minds. And so that would include, Michelle Gerasoli and Dave England and Ed, of course, and a lot of the people who took part in a 2019 event called the marketing camp. For those of you who aren't familiar with the marketing camp, it's just a bunch of marketing people from the region got together, all different companies. There's several of the people right there on the graphic. Nice. Got together and just did one big. It's all content, right? Nobody's up there trying to sell themselves. Everybody brought a different piece of content to share from their enormously wealthy background, and it was just so cool because we each got up there. We had a moment of time to present some of our best advice and our best strategies for helping small businesses grow. And unfortunately, we couldn't do it in 2020 because of COVID, but we're coming back in 2021. So September 10th and 11th is going to be, so right there, it says 2020 up there, but it is going to happen in 2021. Obviously 2020 had to be canceled because of the stuff going on, but 2021, it'll be those speakers plus some others that will be speaking. And I can never pronounce the name of the place, but it's in Exeter, Rhode Island. I'm sure Michelle Gerasoli is listening. Connecticut or something.
And they can go to themarketingcamp.com. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Themarketingcamp.com, and you can register there. It's a full day and a half event. You can stay over if you have to come from Massachusetts or far away. There's sleeping accommodations available. So it's just, we had so much fun. And people at that last event in 2019, several people came up to me and said it was the best marketing conference they had ever attended. And these are people who had attended some national conferences, and here they're saying that ours was the best, which is a nice pat on the back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I will tell you, I was a speaker there, but when I wasn't speaking, I was in the crowd learning. And
taking notes, right?
I learned so much. I learned so much. It was unbelievable. Some tips and tricks that ever since then I've been using, and they work unbelievably, because I got to sit in front of the experts who have been there and done that, right? Yeah. And so, it was really cool.
It's funny, in marketing, it's like people see us, right? And they go, oh, Ed's in marketing, Bob's in marketing. They're competitors. No, we're not.
No.
There's so many subdivisions in marketing, which is why it was so cool that we all got together and we said, here's what I'm best at talking about. And we all had these different topics. And so it just became like a greatest hits album or something, right? Yeah. It was just the best stuff that we had. And, we had like, I don't know, 7 speakers, whatever there was. And everybody got this great bit of information. And then we networked afterwards. So now if you were in the audience and you stuck around, you could take your questions and say, hey, Ed, you talked about X, Y, Z. Yeah. And listen, here's what I got. What do you think? So you knew who was good at what. And so the audience, I think, really got some extra benefit out of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Bill Parmentier, who was there, just left a comment and said the marketing camp was a great event. And he also said that Bob is an amazing marketer, and I have to agree with that too.
Thanks, Bill.
So yeah, always good to hear from Bill. Well, Bob, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. So I want to put up your website one more time. How do you want people to contact you if they want to learn more about what you do and how you can help them grow their business?
Yeah, the best way is to say I'm always checking my email, right? So probably the easiest way to get a hold of me, because sometimes I get very busy during the days. I do some work right now, working on a project with Bill Parmentier for the Rhode Island Builders Association. So we get pretty tied up during the day, and so time is limited. But I'm very responsive on email. So bob@bobsalvas.com is my direct email. It's the one I'm checking all the time. So best way to get in touch with me, just shoot me an email. Tell me you saw me on Ed's great show, and whatever your question is or any way I can help you, I'm happy to do that.
Awesome. Well, Bob, hang out for a sec. I'm just going to close things down, say goodbye to the folks. But thank you so much again for being on today.
Always a pleasure, Ed.
So we'll get started again next week here on Live Stream Wednesday. Again, Wednesdays, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And before I go, just one. Would you like to be interviewed on Live Stream Wednesday? Visit livestreamwednesday.com. Click the green Leave a Voicemail Here button and record and leave me a voice message. And someone from my team will get back to you within 2 business days. All right, folks, that's it. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Live Stream Wednesday.